On. So today we'll continue for lecture part. Last week we have reached and released AES mode of operation, and today we'll continue with hash function. If we still have time, we can continue with the next chapter, because in your teaching plan, we require two sessions for asymmetric cryptography and hash function, and another two sessions is definitely 4 hours for public key or asymmetric. But if you can complete it, the additional session with online or the material for you. Okay. And then later we'll discuss about your group assignment. I will discuss about the requirement and also the specification. Okay. Although not yet finalized or not yet approved by moderator, but we still can start to discuss so that you can prepare your material and so on. But normally assignment easy for you all, right? There are a lot of material you can refer to compared to quiz, test in real time. That's the challenge for you. Normally, when I mark your assessment, most of the time the test and quiz quite difficult to score higher lah. Like you can score, but not that much. But for the first quiz will be scheduled, I think, this Thursday, right? But only first chapter and this chapter, 2 chapters will be easy lah, right? But for cryptography, more on the applied. So if you understand, I think no issue. The second quiz later, they will be covered more chapters. Then you need more time to study. But if no issue, maybe during our lab session tomorrow, we'll do some exercise, give you exposure how the quiz will be. Okay? You will be given actually for the quiz 40 minutes, and the question consists of 3 parts: MCQ, then question. Okay, MCQ mean one answer only, and then another 3 or 4 question. Consider multiple, then 2 marks, and then another parts short answer. That means short essay. Okay. Tomorrow we'll discuss about it, and then how the schema or how the structure of the quiz. Okay. Today we continue with hash function. Are you ready? Ready? Ready for this? Okay, if you're ready, can continue. So I think some of you already familiar with hash function. Maybe this is for your freshman, so then you can strengthen your knowledge and also you can know where to apply it. Hash, what we mean by hash. Okay, this is the definition of cryptographic hash function. Maps data of arbitrary size to fixed length hash value, or sometimes they known as basic digest. So this hash function, they didn't require 2 rounds of encrypt and decrypt. They only hash and digest the basis, produce the different value, which normally fixed length depend on your algorithm. For example, the IB SHA-1, they have the specific algorithm, specific length. If you using SHA-256, that means the value of the cryptography hash function will be following whatever size of the file. Sometimes your file, for example, you download ISO file, Linux, right? Linux distribution, Kali Linux, the file of Kali Linux itself, maybe 3 gig or 4 gigs. But when you hash, the value still 256. Right, that thing. But if you change inside the Kali Linux, the value will be changed as well. So that's how they measure the integrity of the file. Okay. well lah. Later on, data integrity detect changes. Okay. For me, personally, I played around with this kind of things in 2013, 2008, 2009, because my research at that time more on, not mine. Okay, on that time more on the file integrity monitoring. Meaning, you have your file inside your PC, your Windows system file, for example. You can detect if any changes, then you will notify. Meaning, they say malware. Malware normally you will change some of the program file, some of the system file. So when you think file integrity monitoring, okay, no, there are some changes which actually caused by unauthorized intent and so on. But a bit difficult where Windows itself having very complicated files. They keep changing, right? For example, the temporary file and so on. So you cannot highly rely on that. Okay, maybe you can check my Windows folder. You can see one of the paper from 2011 for data integrity, file integrity. And currently, if you're using your Windows, you have BitLocker, right? BitLocker actually also used for data integrity in storage level, meaning your storage can be monitored. Is it any changes that not from your attention, right? So this is the changes. But for BitLocker, you can say that they are combination of data integrity and also hardware security because about TPM. That's also I involved with the research last time starting 2009 in MIMOS. They are the one where become pioneer from in Malaysia. Okay, and then we have basic for our authentication mechanism. Hash value, hash function can be applied, it can be utilized for authentication mechanism, but with additional measure, right? Initializer and back for message authentication code. They are combination of hash value and others. Okay, example, what we by hash function and also the properties. So the properties of hash function consists of full image register. We call it S equal HM, where M to be the message, right? Meaning here, the value of hash or hash itself relies on the basis or the text you want to be yeah, specific algorithm. This is hash algorithm, any hash algorithm SHA-1, MD5, SHA-256, SHA-3, what they are, I don't know, right? And then they have also second key. You see here, given M1, hard to find M3, and such that, for example, if they say equal H1, H equal to M1 and sometimes it's not like this. Because when you have different value, they will be produced different. If they say you put my name with capital letter, my name with small letter, using the same hash function or same hash algorithm, the output will be different. So that's why for each second we match this. And then another property they call it collision resistant. Hard to find any two different message with the same hash. Different message, normally there will be different hash value. Very hard to find same message with different message, same hash value. So they are uniquely digest because of the algorithm itself. Right. Deterministic and efficient, same input, same output. Meaning if you put the they will be produce the same output. So that's why when you see in Ubuntu, for example, Ubuntu ISO, they give you the SHA-256 value. When you download, you hash again with the same SHA-256, you will get the same value, right, of the hash function. So we can remind that this file that you download actually the same file in the original value that you get from the official. If they say you digest and then you got different hash value, meaning there are some error or some missing component of the file. So you need to re-download. Similarly, in network packet, they have CRC, redundancy, and so on. Because for the network packet, especially for TCP, right, they require to ensure the communication between the sender and receiver are complete, or the integrity of the packet are similar, right? So meaning if they say packet to send, if the packet to receive will be different, they will notify. So you need to send it again. So that's the TCP, not UDP. UDP is just sending without checking. Other than that, you have avalanche effect. This is the property design. Small input change will give you large predictable output change. Meaning what? If let's say you put my name is Ahmad, and then you digest, you will get the hash value, right? And you put one more thing, my name is Ahmad 1. So the output will be totally changed, not only one character, right? The hash value will be totally changed and different. You cannot predict. Only one changes happen. So large unpredictable output change. This is the beauty of the hash function. Simple but useful. So for those that invent it, like the IQ or the one which is smart. In simple algorithm, you can give many type of function. So maybe later, for those that have invention in mind, so the guy will produce hash function for quantum computing. Now we are moving to crypto or post-quantum cryptography. Maybe one of it have hash function where any value of hash function cannot be predicted. This one. What are the relationship between hash function and message authentication? So here we have three use cases. When we are using specific encryption, using public key encryption, and using secret value, we still can utilize the hash value or hash function itself. For example, here, first, this one, we can illustrate two ways which message can be authenticated using hash function. So the first part, when you are using symmetric or public key cryptography, we are actually want to secure this message in terms of confidentiality. Right? Correct. Encryption for confidentiality. This is encryption. AES, RSA, actually encryption. We add hash value here to ensure that message can be assured the authenticity from where it came from. The sender. Example here, the first one. Source A. When you are using symmetric encryption, message here, maybe you can encrypt, right? This one encrypt, come ciphertext. But in addition, you add another component. You hash the source or the key example, right? Where it assumes only this sender and receiver share the encryption key, then authenticity is assured. Meaning, you can hash the value of the key, or you can hash the value of data whatsoever, then only the sender or the receiver will take it. Then, and then you have value as part of the message using the encryption key. And then when come to the destination, they will repeat also using encryption key. So this is what you try to enhance. And then the second one, message digest can also be encrypted using public key. And the public key approach has two advantages, provides authenticated signature as well as message authentication. And it does not require distribution of key to communication party. For example, this one you need private key of the sender and the receiver using public key of. Okay, this is the example, meaning that you can use this to digest the key, meaning the user didn't require to send their key or to send or to share the key in the same message or the same email. For example, this is example of email communication or your web application, right? Can use a hash function but no integration for message authentication. Is technique known as the key hash map. The key itself, everything, right? This one only the message, right? To authenticate it before they send to the result without via them to encrypt first. But this one they are digest everything. So means the combination of the key with the message. Then they will be hash and send together in the communication line. And then the third, the receiver will get the value of this. Is combined together the key, and they will compare with the hash value. And this is secure value, no encryption for process authentication. So this one with encryption, but this one without encryption. They are only using hash function to verify combination of key and message. This can be done by hash value. But for hash value itself, features, but they also have some limitation, right? Bank data are precise to fix length hash value, message digest. But nowadays with the powerful computer resources, they can be cracked or can be predict. The first part, hash function and the main purpose here, data integrity to detect changes, this is common. Then basic for authentication mechanism and use miniature signature and message authentication codes. So that very basic features. And then you see the application of hash function. So this is two examples of secure hash function application. The actual password is retrievable by hacker to get access to the password file. In simple terms, when a user enters password, the hash of that password is compared to the stored value for verification. This application requires pre-image registered and perhaps certain pre-image registered field. Example, like I think in the first class, I asked some of you example, right? And then you can say that hash function has been used in password management or password comparison, right? So when you register any account, EBWise, your email, normally they didn't store your password inside the database, right? They only store the hash value. So meaning when you enter your password to log in, they will digest and compare with the database content in the query. Last time, without this hash function, we storing the plain text. So this is very vulnerable, right? When you store plain text, it's very vulnerable. And then they come up with encryption. They encrypt the password and store the encrypted password. But when they aware with a lot of application nowadays and the performance requirement, encryption is not practical. So they just replace with that. Because last time my professor, they are using a doing of their PhD research actually on database encryption. But when it comes to the recent development, the encryption of the password is not there. It's not practical. But maybe others, other component like maybe data, like for example, in dynamic data, we can use encryption. But not in other very dynamic data like password. Okay, the second part here, IDS, intrusion detection system. Store the hash value for a file, hash the file for each file on the system, and secure the hash value on a writable or locked drive or write once optical disk. Can be secure. One can later determine if file has been modified by recomputing hash value. If intruder would need to change F without changing again, this application required with section This is example of intrusion detection. You can consider as file integrity monitor, file integrity. So that's why I said before, I'm working with hash value last time for intrusion detection. I can share with you. You can Google about FIM, file integrity monitoring. This is for you see here, OS, configuration setting, database, and so on. Right, this is for integrity monitoring. I think I got one paper for this. This. Okay, I have two papers regarding the file integrity monitoring 2011. So we are using hash value, hash function. But this is the old version. Nowadays, they are more advanced, right? For intrusion detection. It's not only for file, for log, right? For the log, for the network, packet, and many more. So there are many applications for hash function, although they are considered very simple algorithm. Right? But later, when it comes to quantum cryptography, we did not know is it still relevant or not, right? However, although we have many use cases when it comes to the hash function, they still have some problem lah. We know everything in the world is not perfect, right? So still have some limitation, still require some complementary of other solution. So for this one, you see, hash function itself does not provide authentication. Anyone can compute hash the message, meaning if you have your message, and then we know most of the hash function having their publicly available, right? Publicly available. When they see, for example, 256 bits of hash value, they can recalculate or recompute the value of the message using specific, for example, 256, maybe they can predict using SHA-256. Then my student last time enroll for ethical hacking, right? We have the password cracker tool, password cracking tools. They already have the list of commonly used password. Then they hash that password to compare with the password that we hash. So the hash value will be compared. So easy for them to crack. So that's why in your lab last week, right? If you are using 1 until 5 character, very simple to be cracked, to be brute force. They are using modify message. So meaning attacker can modify the message to recalculate, recompute new hash. Is it the new hash similar like this? Because when you see or you found exactly the hash values similar, meaning the message actually will be similar. High potential. If let's say attacker manage to recompute the new hash, if they modify the message, and then they can send both to receiver and sender without detect the attacker. Man independent attack to ensure that your message cannot be tampered. So they come up with another option, they call it MAC or message authentication code to ensure the sender can be verified, right? So what is it? This is one authentication technique. It involves the use of secret key to generate a small block of data known as message authentication code. That's it appended to the message. They append, meaning they add another component in the message to ensure that message can be verified, the authenticity of the sender. Okay, this provide data integrity. The first one, this is the common features of your hash function, and then MAC also add on another features, data origin authentication. So meaning you cannot tamper the authenticity of it. So only parties with the secret key can generate and verify MAC. Also, this can lead to the non-repudiation, meaning if you send the message using this kind of technique, you cannot deny this is from you. It's non-repudiation, right? So MAC itself can simplify into the 3 points. So you want to secure the message during transmit. That means the communication line itself. So when individual attack, normally they have access here. They did not access in your end, but they was attacked in the middle. So this is the goal of this bank. Ensure integrity first, and then ensure authentication. Ensure the message come from the claim sender. So meaning if they change the MAC itself, you will know this is not from the real sender because the sender will use their own key. Right? To authenticate the message. And then sequence, ensure message up, we see reorder message. What we mean by replay and reorder? Sometimes attacker or man in the time, they capture the message and then they copy and use some changes, they reset again. So how to detect? They're using this one sequence. So you know the packet itself having sequence number. So message already tempered. So it cannot be trusted. Meaning there are some modification in the middle. So MAC have 3 features. So in your quiz, one of the questions will be something like this. What are the main features of MAC? formula, the formula. You want to remembering the formula, up to you, but it's not compulsory. Okay. What I want you to understand what actually HashMac all about, and then how it's work. This is the how it's work. Okay. The original message will be combined together with the MAC to ensure the message. Okay. Normally, when come to the hash value and hash MAC, sometimes they call it hash MAC, right? But this one only for MAC or MAC message authentication code. Hash MAC use secret key plus hash function. The combination of secret key for symmetric or asymmetric, they use private key lah. Apply in structured way, inner and outer hashing. This one lah. Inner inside, outer, yeah, outside the message. And then why? Only lah, but we don't know. Maybe later insecure already, right? But currently still secure. HashMac still secure because HashMac or hash-based message authentication code can protect against weaknesses of plain hash usage. If you are using only plain hash usage, simply can be modified and use the replay tag. And then resistant to non-attack on hash function and also widely used in protocol, TLS, IPsec. So later in web application security, in network security part, you will cover this one, TLS and IP security. TLS more on the application layer, IP security more on the IP layer, network layer, internet. Okay, this is just the formula representation, right? What is K, secret key, message, hash function, IPAC meaning, inner padding, outer padding, and so on. So you can see later XOR is one of the common operation in cryptography algorithm. Okay, what this table represented. There are some issue or mistake in cryptography, right? So this summary of the cryptography include the hash function. They have specific issue. Although this cryptography algorithm, encryption, hash function, HashMac are widely used, but there are still some issues that need to be properly managed. Okay? You manage properly, I think the issue can be resolved. For example, weak password, short, simple, or reuse password. For example, real world example, you can have your LinkedIn reach if using this weak password. So we have example last week, if using 1 to 5 character, very difficult to be cracked. Type of attack, which was in our lab, we are using, of course, actually. But dictionary attack, maybe later we'll try to see in the tools. So in our collecting tools that time, we did dictionary attack. We have word list, popular word list. So from the word list, we'll be try to see, right, based on the what we use. You can check. Top 1,000. Maybe top 1,000 you can find. Is it your password inside the dictionary of the attacker? Okay, they are based on the password reach. Okay. So security insight, let's say here need a strong password, increase space. So in IT environment, how you as an IT admin want to make a strong password as your any idea? Normally, after this, you will become IT admin, right? System admin. So, if they say you are IT officer, or sometimes you are managing all the infrastructure, you need to ensure the strong password not only for email, everything. Everything means if you have your router, your access point, that particular hardware also must be secured by strong password. So you did not put admin 123 in your network because what? When your network compromised, everything inside can be compromised. So it starts with all the layers. The password must be there. So meaning you need to set the strong policy. That's why in MMU we have how many? 90 days. 90 days password expiry. And then you need to have strong password. Right? How many characters? 12 characters. And then key of initialization vector reuse one normally WEP. This one real world example WEP privacy. But I think most of our enterprise level we don't not use WEP anymore. Anyone don't know what WEP is? Anyone don't know? I assume everyone know WEP. Or no? If I ask in quiz, okay, sure you can answer. WEP know, right? But wireless equivalent privacy. So the enhancement of WEP, what are the name? Anyone? Cybersecurity student? Pick up. What mean by this? Can you check your Wi-Fi? This is from your Wi-Fi authentication, right? So this is the use of key or in initialization factor lah. Actually, also related to cryptography algorithms as well. So get up, attack, and then out. But the WEP already replaced by WPA2, WPA3. And then for ECB1 usage, maybe you can go back to previous slide for AES using ECB, which actually the identical attack or identical cyber attack can be this example. And they can use pattern analysis to compare this screen attack and cyber attack. Because if using very simple block, they are easy to predict. So they will use ECB for sensitive data. Maybe you still can use in some very lightweight environment. Next, hash only. No matter we discussed if you be using only hash function individually, there will be no secret key, right? So can be tampered. If the message tampered, you cannot detect because you did not have capability to verify the authenticity of the message. So this one. Okay. So the attack can be forgery and so on. And then the strong key, this is common where use very, for example, 64-bit key, 32-bit key. So encryption system can be cause brute force attack. So meaning large key size to prevent substitute search, meaning they require many time to decrypt. Then repeatable data, repeated or non-related pattern can be break. For example, World War last time, World War II Enigma code breaking. You know the case for the case study World War II Enigma. Maybe later you Google how US and Japan in World War II, right? Japan read the message of US using this non-plain text. And then unsalted hash, same password, same hash. If you using password 1234, using rainbow table. So that we need solving the decomplication. Later we will see how. Then no brightness, we use the authentication message. So in your world, normally for network authentication system, your LTAC and others, so replay attack will be there. So you need another component, nodes, to timestamp to secure brightness, meaning that stop detection. So meaning if you want to detect the replay attack, you need timestamp, right? To ensure only specific time frame can be accepted. If they say communication, you receive the packet after 2 minutes, you will ignore because you know this is possibility of replay attack. This is some example of cryptography. So we did not go through many details because we only cover these 2 hours, 2 session for hash and also symmetric key. So later we'll continue with asymmetric key. Okay, this is the summary where actually we cover some of the important component. Okay. Okay, for this, any question? Any question that you want more discussion on that? If no, maybe we can look at your group assignment. First, okay, this one, your group list. Make sure you have your group member, because why I put this one case study. I propose 4 case studies, so meaning one group will only required to work on specific case study based on this number. So one case study will be represented or will be covered by 2 groups, okay? Because last semester, if you're very general, so meaning you need to find yourself a bit tired because students need to decide and take time also to find the good or the proper case study. For this one, I give you the case study already. Later I will upload. Is it? The challenging part where the timeline, right? Now already week 2. So you need to submit by week 6, right? Can open. It take time. Become smaller. Yeah. You need to work in 4 members, okay, in one group. So this represent the learning outcome number 3 to evaluate threat to supply chain. So that's why we need very specific part, because based on this, it require you to evaluate supply chain and other kind of threat intelligence by researching well-defined cybersecurity framework. So there are well, right? And ISOs and so on. Okay. You need to select only one. I already select for you. easy for you. So that for case study 1, more on the technology and digital supply chain, I choose SolarWind. So this one already give you some brief idea about the attacks. Okay. And then case number 2, more on the logistic and transportation. MAS. This is the multinational company for the transportation and logistics. And then case study 3, more on the healthcare and pharmaceutical. Then number 4, the name is Target Corporation, Retail and Manufacturing. This is real case. Okay? So using your selected case, I selected for you, conduct evaluation and prepare documentation covering the 3 parts below. Okay, you may supplement the case brief with your own research from public sources listed, and you are encouraged to cite official report, journalism, and regulatory filing. If let's say you have access to the dark web, but do not require lah. Maybe you can get some leak info. So the final report and video presentation are due in week 6, 24th September, and must be submitted by the group leader. Meaning, when you listed here as a leader, I want the leader itself to submit only. So meaning I know there are 8 submission only lah. So if everyone submit, they will be quite difficult to identify which group, right? So please make sure your group leader submit. For example, Ilham need to submit on behalf of other group member. Okay. This is the case study, case brief. For example, the first group, Ilham group need to take this first case study. You need to understand the SolarWind case study discovered December 2020. You can collect all the information in public domain, or if you have additional case study from journal or whatever, we can take as well. Try to identify the requirement later. This is the requirement, but this is the case study. Understand the whole idea of the attack, right? The background, the key vendor or system affected. Because when it comes to supply chain attack, they not only affected the company or organization itself, they will be related to the third party or the fourth party, meaning their vendors, their partners, right? So this is a supply chain attack. So you need to trace where or when or who caused this, either the third party or the company itself. What happened, and then also a similar form case study. So what you need to do here, first, you 30 marks represent here. You need to write your introduction and risk evaluation based on the case study. Explain why supply chain cybersecurity is and why it's critical concern for the selected businesses. And then evaluate the level of cybersecurity risk faced by the business supply chain, covering key component, vendor system, and others. So last time I have conversation with the, we have in Malaysia many international player. We got FWD, we got AIA, right? So this company, insurance company, can be part of your target later. Maybe you can work with them, you can go for internship with them, because they require security person. Because that's leadership. Last time they work with FWD, it's international. There are many branches all over the world. They have facing also data breach when they investigate all the branches. They found that no leakage from their side. When they go through details investigation, they found that the vendors, okay, their partners have some leakage, meaning they have Prudential, they still require security people nowadays. Insurance company. They not only for their side, but they also offer the cyber insurance. So meaning they require expert from cyber security component. And then track, identify, compare, and rank. After you evaluate and rank two major supply chain threats relevant to the selected case, two is minimum. Okay, if you found there are 3 or 4, you can list it as well. Evaluate how these major supply chain threats relevant to the selected case. And then compare the threat based on impact, likelihood, and detectability. You can propose your own table, okay? Risk table, risk assessment table, or any other format that easy for you to present it. Okay, and then rank the threat from most to least severe with justification using the case brief and real world example. For example, this supply chain, one of the company are affected by ransomware. So ransomware, how this rate rank? Is it the least severe or most severe? Right. And then probably assess the operational, financial, and reputation impact, because each risk will be related to this business, okay, in terms of their operation, in terms of financial and reputation impact. So this is must be related as well. So you can see the first part more on the theoretical framework, right? And part 2, evaluate the cybersecurity framework. Effectiveness, the framework, meaning this is the more on research requirement. NIST CSF, meaning cybersecurity framework. Nowadays, NIST come up with their own the new framework. They call it NIST cybersecurity framework. You have ISO, you have Meteor Attack, and many other type of framework. So you need only 2 lah. Not limited to this, but 2 of it, right? Where can be cover most of the requirement by the organization. And then as part of this evaluation, briefly address how well your recommended framework covered third party or vendor risks and not any gap you observe the fault in the region framework application section. For example, right, you have NIST cybersecurity framework. They cover organization requirement, right? How many domains of cybersecurity, and then you need to find, is it any third party or vendor risks has been covered in that particular framework? If no, maybe you can propose. If yes, maybe they have some additional or sub-component of this framework cover third party or risk vendor framework. So you can find it. But here, this one, I think the availability of the material a lot, right? So no issue. So you can discover this. And then threat intel. This is threat intelligence integration. So you need to evaluate the role of threat intelligence in improving the organization's supply chain security. How you take to ensure all the third party, all the partners can be monitored, can be identified any threat related to them as well, not only organization. Okay. And then assess its effectiveness in preventing versus corresponding to attack. How? Okay. In your threat intelligence requirement. So 60% more on these 2 parts. Another 20% on the best practices. This is your own your own suggestion, right? How you suggest. Vendor third party risk as well. You need to evaluate to the case, specific case. Because in reality, when you want to join company, especially for those that already went to internship, right? Anyone have been go through internship? Not yet. Later, when you want to go for your internship, the company will give you checklist. They call it background checklist lah, background verification, right? So they will verify you. You involved with political parties, you involved with, for example, some NGOs or whatsoever. So meaning they have a background check. Similarly with the vendor, we need that background check as well to ensure the vendor is not bankrupt. The vendor has capability to react if any incident happen, any cyber incident happen, they have their own plan. So this is one of the strategy to ensure if you appoint them as your vendor, they have the capability to closely work with you if any incident happen or any preventative measure that you require. Currently, TPRM, they call it third party risk management, are crucial as well in cybersecurity, not only for your organization, because you will share your infrastructure management, your data with them, right? They are the one who are managing your data, managing your infrastructure. So you need to ensure they are also secure. So part 4, more on deliverable. This is the report lah, report requirement. Oh, they got also plagiarism check. This one later I will open for AI detection in turning in, right? And then this is for contribution. Okay. Video presentation, meaning that you did not require to present in class, but you need to record the video. 15 minutes, I think. 15-minute limit video. Okay. In class, after submission, I will maybe require 5 minutes from you all for Q&A. Okay. If required lah. If everything clear, no issue. So make sure you try to make your presentation clear what you have done. Okay, and then you need to give some contribution here for each members. Okay, this is a rubric. There's a rubric. That's for your assignment. And then for very good. Okay, tomorrow will be public holiday, right? And then this is your quiz. Your quiz will be part 5 to 6. We still have short lab, okay? Lab still have lab for Thursday. For tomorrow, not for tomorrow 25th, 26th. On 26th, we still have common or normal lab. For next week, one more. You see, Merdeka, public holiday as well. For replacement class here, we'll discuss, for example, we have the normal lecture hours, right? In 1st September. Maybe if I can record, if we did not complete the chapter, the public key cryptography, maybe I can give you the video for security. I think for this one, security modeling for 1st September, right? This one should. For third week, actually, I'm not available from 2nd to 3rd, meaning your lab session will be postponed for week 3. Okay. For week 3, later I will announce. For Wednesday and Thursday, I'm not available. I'm outside the campus. So maybe I will give you some of guided learning as well. Right? And then we continue with normal part here. Lab exercise will be on another, I think, this one, 2nd. That exercise, not 2nd, maybe 2nd. This one more on Wednesday, right? Wednesday, yes, our lab. Okay, later I will announce lah. Currently we are stick with this, but if any changes, I will announce in your EVUS. So until now, any question regarding the assessment, regarding the chapters? Yeah. Huh? Please. Thursday, yes, Thursday. For those that did not manage to join, just let me know. Maybe later I will give you additional or replacement lah, but different questions. Why? When come to the mark, because in I think 2 or 3 semester, they found that there are trend when so they decide please do it physically, because nowadays there are a lot of AI assistant, right? Difficult for lecturer to detect. Okay, so meaning these 15 marks will be physical, similarly with this one. But this one very easy, we only cover until this one. Overview, first chapter and second chapter. Okay, you got it? Cryptography essential. So tomorrow I will give you the sample question. You want or not? Sample question. Sample only, not the exact question, but sample one. Okay, maybe we still have time. We can continue with the public key cryptography. Should record because although they will give until next week, right? Another chapter, but next week also public holiday, right? So we could try to cover chapter 3. But using different approach. My folder. Public. When we call it public, meaning that they are publicly available, right? One of the key, but another type of key will be private. So this is just a mathematical courses like discrete, right? Discrete computing. What else? You have calculus. Anyone having issue with calculus? So this kind of thing actually useful when come to cryptography. If you interested to become cryptographer or crypt analyst, so this good for you. But for me, I can say that I'm not going in details about cryptography. I'm apply it also, but I still require to know which cryptography algorithm suitable for a specific use case to apply it. Second part, explain the public key cryptography model, encryption, the signature, and key exchange, how it's work. RSA, this one is 3 part, and digital certificate and TLS protocols. For today, at least we can cover the first part, and second part is enough now. Okay, first, why symmetric crypto is not enough? Only one key, everyone. You require to have using the same key. So meaning it's difficult to ensure the privacy, right? So public key cryptography is asymmetric. Use 2 separate keys. The use of 2 keys has profound consequences. confidentiality, key distribution, and authentication. Because with the symmetric encryption, they have issue in terms of key distribution. How can the same key distribute all over the world, right? For the second or for the receiver, for example, in secure manner. Because last time, if but I think you did not watch James Bond movie last 90s because you're not yet born, right? Last time in 90s, they bring the James Bond briefcase. In that briefcase, actually they have the key whatsoever, meaning they are physically send the key into specific people on where they will send the message later. That's last time. But it's not practical, right? For anyone that you want to share the secret message, you need to bring the physical case to distribute the key. This is the issue of symmetric key because they are only using one key. Without that key, cannot be free. So that's why they come up with public key cryptography. Because they want to stop with key distribution of public versus private key. So meaning they want to ensure if you want to communicate securely with your counterpart, your partners, you need this concept. The partners know your public key, but you hold your ring. A real example, HTTPS. So you can try to find how your HTTPS work, right? So that's why when you register for any system, they will store your key in your browser. It's seamlessly, but actually you have your own private key. Okay, misconception concern public key encryption. So you know already why this public key introduced. However, there are some misconceptions. Well, some of people say that public key encryption is more secure from the crypt analysis than specific key. It's not like that case. It's more on the key itself, not the algorithm itself. Crypt analysis more on the pattern analysis, right? Symmetric encryption of symmetric. No. It's not necessarily you said symmetric key will be obsolete, but they still have been used, right? Especially for data encryption. Also, another misconception. Key distribution is trivial when using public key compared to the random double handshake key involved with key distribution center for symmetric key. In this come, they call it DC of distribution center, key distribution center of key KDC. Another symmetric, right? Example here, encryption with public key. Normally, how it works? When Bob wants to send a secure message to Alice, normally Bob has public key ring where he store multiple public key for their friend, for example, for his friend or his counterpart, his partners, or his third party that if he want to communicate with securely. So when he want to securely send a message to Alice, he will choose Alice public key. Alice public key ring where consists of multiple public key of his common communicator or using RSA. Example of encryption algorithm for public key RSA, there are many others lah. That public key of A, Alice, will be used together with RSA algorithm, right? From plain text X to become Y ciphertext. So ciphertext need encryption function or encryption algorithm which combine the public key of Alice with the message, right? And then transmit it into Alice computer. So in Alice computer, Alice require her private to get the plaintext X equal to decrypt the using her private key and the message Y itself. So become plaintext. So meaning that if they say pop using Alice, the combination Alice public key and Alice can decrypt. But if, for example, pop using Mike public key sent to Mike, but Alice receive or try to inject using her public key, the message cannot be decrypted. So this is very specific for the key pair. They call it key pair lah. Key pair. So that's why when later maybe we will go for cloud security. In cloud, you need to create public private key, public and private key as well, key pair. And in your lab later, we will try to see how public and private key pair will be generated and used in RSA. So this is the very simple, simple. And then this one, encrypt with public key. Other than that, you can also encrypt with your own private key. Meaning, and to ensure where maybe this is not for the message confidentiality set, but to ensure the authenticity of the message. Similarly, the plaintext will combine with RSA algorithm together with the public, the private key of the sender. But the receiver will use their public key ring to see. Okay, this is from Bob, then they will use Bob public. So this is more on authenticity verification, authentication of the message, meaning verify the real sender. Can you differentiate between these two? This one more on to ensure the confidentiality of the message, okay, using Bob public key, specific sender will able to decrypt this one to ensure only verified from the specific sender. This one receiver part, this one sender part. Okay, but for this terminology, I think no issue, right? Maintain algorithm, you know. But what mean by this? This key that have been selected. So if one of used for encryption, the other is used for decryption. So that's why in your application, anyone familiar with PHP? I think IT student, PHP, MySQL, right? And then you have ASP, JSP, what else you use for web application? So this session management actually the one where you require to generate the key, meaning each session they have different key. So if let's say your session key compromise, then they only affected that session. When you log out, then they will be terminated. So you need to create another key. It's not like this. Okay. So you know, encryption also you know. Meaning if using encryption and decryption must be same algorithm. They have two round. So meaning one round for encryption, another round for decryption. Sometimes each round also have another sub round, multiple round, right? So if you encrypt using AES, then you need AES to decrypt as well. If using RSA, both RSA. Cannot be others. Okay, other than that, real world sample HTTPS for secure web access. Nowadays, we have a lot of application on top of HTTPS, right? Your web application and then your mobile also using HTTPS nowadays. First, you see the component of HTTPS normally first client connect to the server using client browser. Browser send request to server and start TLS handshake. We have 3 or 4 handshake. This one example, TLS handshake flow. Client send hello, meaning try to communicate, establish the communication to the server, and then server reply with the certificate. Are you ready for this communication? And if client browser are authentic and also can use this certificate, they will change the key, and then they can establish the session. Normally, key exchange, they will password, right? And then they will generate based on that the session key. So each session will be uniquely identified. So in the log, they know where, when you communicate, when this kind of changes happen, which session, and others. Next, second part, server sends certificate. Okay. Server provide its digital certificate containing its public key signed by trusted CA. What mean by trusted CA? CA mean full name of CA? Certificate authority. Okay. Certificate authority is one of the body or the organization that well established and trusted by others, meaning the third party which trusted by the community, right? We call it trusted CA. So this trusted CA sign the public key by the server, right? Public key of the server, meaning if the public key of the server not signed by trusted CA, maybe you cannot move forward, meaning please don't continue the communication. Maybe this website are scam. This website attacker website. So this is another use case. Next, browser verifies certificate, meaning your client browser. Is the CA trusted? Is the certificate valid? Nowadays, we have Google Chrome, right? Each, they have this capability. So that's why if the website is not certified, it will pop up. If valid, you can continue. If not valid, they have shown warning. Maybe later you can try how the website for unsecure one. Next, when it's valid, you can continue the exchange. Two common approach. First, simplified using RSA. Browser generate a session key. I said before, session key. Your browser actually will generate the session key, encrypts it with server public key and send it to the server. So meaning this one, they are using this approach, right? Your browser encrypt the session using server public key. If you found here, generate a session key, and then the session key itself have been encrypted. is a valid server with that particular private key pair, then the server can decrypt the session key. Or they can use Diffie-Hellman approach. Both sides generate a shared secret key. So no key directly transmitted. So this one, another part, Diffie-Hellman, they call modern TLS. Next, once the session key or shared key have been established, then they will start the secure communication. Both now share the same session key. Switch to symmetric encryption for faster communication. So meaning here, the asymmetric key only used for session key, right? Session key, and others will be using symmetric key. Maybe the transmission of the message will be using AES, but the session key only using is RSA. So why HTTP secure? About CIA lah, right? Data is encrypted, cannot verify, and server identify is verified using digital certificate. So example lah, certificate, your password of the passport of the website, meaning the certificate, okay, you verify, okay, this is correct person or correct server. And public key, but private key and the secret key to open the padlock. Okay, and then session key temporary shared password, meaning if both trust each other, then they can share the session key. So used for normally login credential, bank transaction, and personal information. This example of this one. Okay. Before that, maybe 5 minutes. Please take your time, 5 minutes. If an attacker intercept the traffic, why can't they read it? Based on this real world example, if intercept the traffic between the session, right, of both, what please justify. In 5 minutes, I will give you the link to write your answer. Why? Okay, this is your task. Why cannot? Can't they read it? It's encrypted. Yes, encrypted. Why? Okay, I waiting and ada key point. Actually, last time faculty plan for us to join and talk from one of the professor from UK, but he not be able to come, so we continue our class lah. Data encrypt okay, but there are another part here. Using secure key, okay, this is the the keyword, okay. Encrypt, okay, good, but you have to put also, where is the key? This one. Because the data is encrypted using a secure key that only the client and the server knows. Meaning the secure key, the session key, right? That's the good answer. Meaning you emphasize on the key management. So the secure key, the session key, for example, shared key. Similarly like this lah, right? So now you know how to get the full mark. If encryption only, 1 mark. Okay. If let's say the question put 3 marks, maybe you need to put 1 or 2 point lah. 2 points minimum. Key, okay. Matching the key, okay. So meaning we are focusing on the key. Okay, you for those that want to go for toilet, you can go for your toilet and also take some drink. In 5 minutes, I will show your attendance. Okay, in 5 minutes. Because some of you went out, so I give another 5 minutes. Okay.